a killer year.
I think Cain Velasquez is going to win that fight.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah. It's an interesting fight. Obviously, the first one ended very quickly, and I guarantee you he will go in with a different game plan this time.
Absolutely. Other fights on the card. You just made the Forrest Griffin-Phil Davis matchup. You know, I saw an interesting tweet from a blogger who said Forrest shouldn't have to fight prospects. And I talked to Phil Davis last week, and I was like, Phil, are you a prospect? I'm like, how is Phil Davis still a prospect?
Yeah, I agree. People look at things weird, as far as the fight business goes, but Phil Davis is far from a prospect. This guy's been around for a while.
Chris Weidman's going to fight Tim Boetsch. Yep. If Weidman wins that fight, would you put him in there with Silva, or does Silva get GSP? Does he get Bisping before that?
I don't know how this whole thing is going to play out. We'll see how the GSP fight goes. There's no doubt Anderson has said publicly now, I want to fight GSP. GSP has a very tough fight with Carlos Condit. Anybody who's looking past Carlos Condit is nuts. We'll see what happens after that fight.
What do you think of the whole Silva, John Jones, GSP tryst? Like, what matchup would you like to see?
Well, it's funny because people say, "Oh, there's no way that the St. Pierre fight should happen. He's too big for him." Well, what about Anderson Silva? People say that Jones should be a heavyweight. So there's no difference. I think that obviously the fight that could happen first would be Anderson versus George St. Pierre, and a lot of people will want to see that fight. So we'll see what happens.
I'll tell you what. I mean, you were there. We watched it on TV. Anderson against a guy who walks around at like 6'4" and 230 in Bonner. Yep. I thought that was incredibly impressive because that was a strength contest for like 3 minutes in the clinch, and then he just throws him aside, gets the knee in there. So Jones is big, but I think Anderson could hold his own at that size.
I've never seen anything like Anderson Silva. I say it all the time. I'll say it again. He's the greatest fighter of all time. I mean, I've never seen anything like this guy. He's so talented, and Bonner flew home with me because his wife was having a baby, and he's like, "This guy lives in the Matrix, man." It's like, when he said, "I've never